We'll try not to block your
All right. Let's get rolling.
Take a quick.
Yeah, that.
All right. So, oh, good.
Did you guys see this Josh Giddey clip?
No, what's going on?
Well, it's not Josh. He's not in the clip, but Chandler Parsons is talking about how All-Star Weekend has fallen off. Like no kids are showing up to All-Star Weekend to watch Josh Giddey, and someone just goes, "I bet you one is." DeMarcus Cousins just starts dying.
That's crazy.
That's fucked, dude. That's fair though. Yeah, they got no choice but to give the Giddler an All-Star spot this year.
He deserves it.
Yeah, he
deserves
does.
it. But yeah. All right. So Drake May, Kyron, Rico, London, Olave, Loveland, Walker, Lab McConkey. Rice is on your bench, so you can flop that. Yeah, I mean, this is a really sick team. You have Jamar Chase on your bench as well. I don't really know what else you want aside from a glazed donut here.
Yeah, I mean, if you're starting Rice and Chase in there, and you have Ladd, you can have Ladd and Kenneth off the bench. You can throw Olave in that flex spot. I feel like that's pretty ideal. Olave's numbers are going to be juiced pretty much going forward. I feel pretty good about throwing him in the flex. Shuck looked competent enough at the weekend to feel pretty good if you have some of those pass catchers. So I think it's a pretty solid team. Colston Loveland finding his feet really helped you. It doesn't really seem like you have another tight end there, so that's been a big boost for you. Hopefully that continues and you cruise into the playoffs with some momentum.
Yeah, sick team. All right, on to the next one. HR told me, hello, we're back department. I'd like to file claim your 4 and 5 fish in the playoffs for now, but had to make some heartbreaking trades, but it was for the better. Use your empty roster spots to put Burrow and Reed on your IR spots. Starting to wonder if Ted McMillan is allergic to a breakout game. Still not completely sold on Travion because the serial fumbler is back, and we all know Vrabel's weird obsession with him. And as you all know, job's not finished. Would you drop anyone on this team for Burden? Are there any other moves that you think you should make?
Yeah, Ted's a tough one because he probably needs to go into your lineup just because of the sheer amount of targets and things like that. He just hasn't had that gigantic game yet. In the games where he scored touchdowns, he hasn't had the yardage, and when he's had a ton of catches and yardage, he hasn't found the end zone. So it's kind of a tough one, but I think you got to keep just rolling him out there, especially given who's on your bench. I think Jaden Reed's a really fun stash. He's one of my favorite guys to have stashed away there for a little bit of ramp up, and then you're into fantasy playoffs. And clearly the Packers are looking for some bit of X factor on the offense, especially after Tucker Kraft went down, and Jaden Reed feels like the guy most equipped for that. They use him in a variety of ways out of the backfield, a bit of a Swiss Army knife. I feel like he could be a fun guy to throw into your flex or even take Ted's spot as he's kind of working his way back. But for now, you kind of got to just rock with this. I'm assuming you traded some of your first-round picks for depth and stuff just based off of kind of what your roster's looking like right now, but Travion got a big bump. Hopefully he kind of just retains that role going forward. He's definitely earned it.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I'd do here is I'd drop DK and I'd go pick up Michael Wilson. And, like, that's an easy flex start this week.
No Marv, right?
Yeah, no Marv anymore, but that's really all you can kind of do. In theory, you could make arguments like drop Devin Neal or Bashard Smith or Realcy Ray Davis, but like it's more about like how much do you want to turn those into like win now pieces, essentially, just because you're trying to find a guy off the waiver wire. Still trying to figure out between Amari or Michael Carter, who's going to be more live to potentially score fantasy points this weekend, but we'll figure it out. But yeah, overall, solid team. I think you're going to be able to get to the promised land. So on to the next one. King D, you have no idea who to start this week. Classic. Well, Gadsden's practicing, so that's a positive. I'm assuming
I think I would put Harvey in for either Marks or Judy and then pretty much call it a day from there. I mean, I like Harvey's matchup more than I like Kenneth's or Breece's. New England's only given up one 50-yard rusher all season, and that was Sean Tucker this weekend in kind of a weird game. So I feel like it's not the greatest matchup for Breece at all. Judy's also played well. You're kind of spoiled for choice a little bit here.
Yeah. I wouldn't be starting Judy personally. I would either go with Harvey or I'd go with Jennings. I think those are your two options. New England, I just have such a hard time being in on the Breeze side. Bradley Beal is out for the season. Holy, I feel like I haven't seen him play basketball in forever.
I mean, he's been scoring like 8 points a game and shit.
I mean,
I can't believe they traded Norman Powell to make room for Bradley Beal. It's so insane.
He just got like one of the craziest contracts I remember in like history, and I was just like, was he really worth that much? And
No
looking back
trade
on it,
clause.
no, he was definitely
Yeah, just
not.
insane.
Wow. All right, on to the next one. Radio Coconut. You're 8-2 in an 8-man league, half PPR league, looking for advice to prep for playoffs.
Whoa.
Well, that's a good position to be in.
I mean, that team is insane.
Yeah, I mean, your team's very correct, good sir.
I would be starting exactly who you're starting. I would feel good about that. You have a ton of Chargers, which I guess is not the worst thing in the world these days. Jonathan Taylor, obviously, on bye. You can make a case that Zay has a better matchup potentially than Pickens. I guess the Browns' defense is pretty good, so
you don't
it's
need
tough to
three
be fully
quarterbacks.
in on there. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I feel like you could drop Jaden Daniels for sure.
Yeah, like realistically, choose between. I imagine Daniels is out for the season, but you never know.
Has to be.
Harvey's probably going to be getting just an increased usage, and that's going to be a little bit more sustainable for your flex spot. And he's going to have some good matchups in the near future, but that's really all you can do with this roster. Like, it's really sick. You can technically make cases for Brees to be dropped, but like the amount of touches he's like going to continue to have is very valuable. I don't know. I think you're probably going to win your 8-man league with a squad that looks like this.
Yeah, I would definitely use your priority on adding Harvey over there. He seems like the best upside or a bit of a consistency swing over there. So
yeah, I mean, they said he'll be back in a few weeks, but that's also like the same reporting that said Travis Hunter will be back from IR. So it's kind of hard to trust what is
and like
actually
Bucky and all these kind of weird foot injuries, Hampton.
Yeah. So as much as I want to be like, oh, we're all in on it, like I can make a case for dropping Dart as well. To be completely honest with you, like you can pretty much drop
Jaden. Yeah.
Like
I mean, I just think that even if Jaden comes back at like the last 2 weeks, which wouldn't really make sense with their record, like I don't even know if you're going to start him over Herbert given the injuries and things like that. So I don't think it's really worth the spot, but it seems like you have an extra spot there as well, unless there's just like a gap on your website. But yeah.
For that, yeah, I liked it too because of that specific game. But like aside from that, like you don't really need them. We can probably find other alternatives if we really need to. But if he plays, yeah, I agree. He's a good spot in that matchup. Well, that said, Uneasy XMH 14-man PPR tight end premium did lots of trades recently. Traded Woody Marks and Tet for AJ Brown for the upside play in the playoffs. Right on. Let's see.
AJ Brown did just say on a live stream that if you have him in fantasy, get rid of him. So vibes by the AJ Brown camp. He said his family's good, but everything else in his life is bad. And he said this season's been a shit show for him. Not really the highest vibes. I don't know how they just continue to roll him out there when he has that type of attitude about things. But you have enough depth on the bench here, clearly, where you can adapt and throw Travion in, and you shouldn't be too upset. I think you'll be fine. Your receivers are good without AJ Brown. I don't know if Woody Marks and Tet would have really found their way into your lineup anyway. So I think it's okay. I think it's a fine upside swing in case things do take a turn for the better as the season goes on.
Yeah. Ultimately, this team's sick. I think AJ Brown probably has better days ahead of him, to be honest. I don't know. They all hate gambling. Well, they love gambling but they hate us gambling, if that makes sense. So I think they're just going to say anything along those lines. And yeah, they're not passing the ball at all. So
I think Tyler Warren and Trey McBride, having both those guys in tight end premium is totally fine too. Like having Warren at the flex there is super chill. I don't think you need to overreact. I think if AJ Brown doesn't figure it out, you just throw Travion in there and you're pretty much good to go.
Yeah, it looks sick. All right, on to the next one here. 12-man PPR trade McCarthy for Dallas starter, and with Dart having a crushing knee, streamable quarterback play. Any recommendations on where we have Flacco, Rodgers, Dak, Brissett, Geno, T-Lock, Penix? Rodgers would be my pick this week.
Yeah, I kind of like the Brissett matchup, the one
Yeah.
he has against the Niners, giving up a lot of fantasy points to quarterbacks, and he's played really well. It's kind of a gross start to put him in your lineup, but the data's been there as of late. I think it's not as bad as it might look on paper. I think you could kind of drop JJ as well, so take some chances.
I'm like, for what it's worth, like I have JJ McCarthy and Rodgers as must starts this week, so like I'm fine starting both of these guys.
Oh, but he traded McCarthy for Guy. I see.
He traded.
Yeah, I think you rock with Rodgers or Brissett maybe.
Or Brissett, yeah. Aside from that though, like the team is sick once again. Like you have a really strong receiving core. Your running backs, it's fine. And then Bucky was actually back at practice today, so we'll see if he can do more than just take non-contact handoffs soon enough. Yeah.
He's so weird. He just gets like ruled out on Monday every week.
Yeah,
I know, it's so annoying.
I wouldn't anticipate him back this week either. I think he'll probably be back the week after this. But we will see. 16-man PPR trade deadline this week, 7-3. Any moves you should make for tight end or wide receiver 2? Also, who do you drop for QB if Dart is out? I imagine Dart's going to be out. If I'm dropping anyone, I'm probably just going to drop Theo Johnson just because like you can just get a lot of people off of waivers that are going to be able to produce his level of volume on average.
Yeah, I mean, if you're 7-3, I feel like your roster's in a good spot. I wouldn't overreact. Marv is going to be out this week. I think you just slot Diggs in there and start RJ Harvey, and you're pretty much fine. You do have some good depth. I think if Judkins has a huge week, I guess your deadline's this week, but I think you could potentially move off of Judkins and Harvey. You could sell the hype on Harvey and try to get something great and upgrade, but outside of that, having a little bit of depth is important, and your roster's good. I don't think you need to make too many adjustments, especially in a 16-man league. I don't know how you even pulled this team off.
Yeah. I mean, it's a dope team. It's 16. You should be very, very good. All right. Steroids are 8-2. Garrett Wilson just went down with an injury, and a lot of your team aren't producing the standards. With Jay Jettis sticking it up, you're not sure what to do and who to trade to prepare for fantasy playoffs. Well, fortunately enough, you're not trading away Justin Jefferson. I think it only goes up from here. Trey Tucker, great spot this week. Action JMT likely also in a very, very good spot. I want to know what is going on with Colton Miller because if he's active, I'm excited. But I'm also concerned about Geno because he didn't look too healthy leaving that game. But yeah, I mean, this is a sick roster. I don't really know what you would change. You could go get like John Mechie or Adonai Mitchell, but that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like Garrett will be back for playoffs, and you're 8-2. You can afford to lose a week or two while he's recovering. Trey Tucker is a really good matchup this week, like Wells said. I think you can piece it together enough that you don't need to go out and do anything drastic.
Yeah, and I'd consider selling the name value on Garrett Wilson if you could, just because like they're going nowhere fast. Like it's just not ideal for the Jets right now. Unfortunately, they're in tank mode. Aside from that, like this is a steroid-induced squad. I think Harvey will likely be fine, and I do think A.J. Brown has a chance to go nuclear this week. How real that is, we will see. Sunny T, should you attempt to trade Juwan and Woody for a Waddle or any other moves? I'm not opposed to Juwan and Woody for a Waddle in theory, but like the running backs are fine. Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I imagine there's better days ahead for Woody, but like Waddle is like a top 12 receiver in fantasy. He just seems to produce every single week. That doesn't really seem to be changing anytime soon. Let's see here. And then you'll have Ricky Pearsall and Brandon Ayuk theoretically coming back soon as well. So, yeah, I like that deal. Aside from that, though, I think it's a pretty dope squad. Like, yeah, it's a really strong squad here, Sunny T. I don't really know what else to say. All right, on to the next one. Herbert, Chase Brown, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Jalen Waddle, Marvin Harrison. Congratulations on your glazed donut. I don't see any notes for this one, so that is what I have to say to you about this squad that is clearly mega stacked. All right. Gav 12-man PPR. Any trades you should make before deadline this week are 5 and 5. Jalen Hurts, James Cook, Ashton Jeanty, Drake London, Justin Jefferson, Kate Ottens. I mean, this is a dope squad. I'm very surprised it's 5 and 5, to be completely honest with you.
That is an insane team.
Yeah, like I think there's better days ahead for you. Ultimately, is what I'm gonna leave you with.
I would be. I mean, I get bye week, but you slot Tyler Warren in there as well, and you have Olave and Judkins on the bench. I don't know how you're 5 and 5.
Yeah, it must have just been like an absolutely horrendous start, or you're just not managing your team.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Drake started slow. Jettas hasn't been insane, but Cook and CD too. Like, it's a pretty insane team. I think you got to just rock with it.
Yeah. All right. Baby Pluto, 12-man PPR, double flex, 14-6 record, first place. Hell yeah, first gets by. Which of Burrow/Daniels would you rather keep as a backup? Looking to trade one or the other before playoffs to tear up at wide receiver/running back. I would sell the hype on Joe Burrow because it's like, yeah, they're going to be playing, but it's like, what if he's just not fully healthy and you're not getting 100% out of him? So I think you can probably get a little bit more out of Burrow, whereas people are probably a little more off on Daniels right now. But I'm also trying to sell out on Jaden Daniels. I think it's more likely than not that he's out for the rest of the season. Try to tear up for running back or wide receiver. I mean, I'd go and try to get Bucky, like, if I were you. Like, he's got the nuts playoff schedule. That's part of why one of my rules in the cheat sheet was to leave every draft with a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Unfortunately, if you left the draft with Bucky, you'd been annoyed. But if you left the draft with Emeka, you were pretty happy with that result. Or Mike Evans while he was healthy, but that was short-lived. But aside from that, though, this is a dope squad. Christian Watson, I imagine, will have better days ahead of him. Tyler Algier is apparently a superstar.
Yeah, I mean, Puka and JT are going to win you a lot of weeks just on their own. Now you have Harvey to slot into that flex spot pretty seamlessly in Taylor's absence. I think it's pretty great.
Makes me wonder what spot this person drafted from, because it's like, I think they must have taken Puka really early to get Jacobs and Jonathan Taylor, because those two were like on that 2-3 turn.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. All right. On to the next one. Majin Buba. And that's a hell of a name. Any trades you should make? I was offered Pittman for Bucky or Judkins and Harrison for Drake and Adam. Okay, so let's see if I can process this first. All right, so Pittman for Bucky or Judkins, so your choice between those two. I prefer to be on the Bucky side for the reasons we just talked about. Gets Miami week 17. That's the nut spot.
And the second one is also just a bad trade. Like, I would
Harrison for Drake May and Allen. I just prefer to be the one on the Marvin Harrison side in theory, but like that's kind of my process historically. You probably don't want to do that now, considering you're going to be missing Marv for at least this week. And Drake May is just kind of an MVP form. This game is probably going to set up pretty similarly to what it's going to do in championship weekend, but like he's going to get the Jets. It's probably going to be a good day for fantasy for him.
You should trade Drake May for something. I mean, I think that's kind of a decent trade.
Yeah.
Maybe not for the two of them. Maybe you just get just Bucky. Is Bucky on that team? It seems like if it's him or Judkins. I feel like if you can get Bucky for Drake May, I think that would be great because you obviously have Lamar there. You should trade one of these guys to capitalize on the positional advantage you got going on. No tight end league is a little tough for Tyler Warren owners, but I think outside of that, your lineup is great. Running backs are good. Top two receivers are really good. If you could just upgrade that final receiver slot, maybe in a trade for Drake May, I guess that could be Marv or something. I think that would be a trade I'd be fine doing.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that was the last team for today.
Indeed it was.
All right. Appreciate you all. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, we'll talk to you later. Peace now.
Peace.